You're watching YCN, your local view. Program airtime is underwritten in part by Bar Harbor Bank and Trust. Looking to purchase your dream home, finance your business, or just find a better checking relationship? Our New Hampshire team is here to help you. We make award-winning banking happen every day. Contact us to see how we can help you. Member FDIC.
Welcome to Yankee Chronicle. I'm your host, Abby Peel, and we are again hosted at the Tracy Memorial Library here on Main Street in New London. At Tracy Memorial Library, they provide the highest level of service to all library patrons and visitors. Today, we'll hear from Ashlee Rowley, the Executive Director of the Lake Sunapee Region Chamber of Commerce, who will join me here for a wrap on their annual meeting and announcement of this year's business and community winners. We'll get an update on the proposal for a new police facility in Wilmot. And we'll close with the first of three-part series introduced by Hanna Flanders called Food Connects. But first, these messages from a good local business that is making today's show possible. Remember, buying local is an important way to sustain the communities and programmings we all love.
This program is supported by Main Street Bookends of Warner for books, toys, games, cards, gifts, and a gallery of local art. Main Street Bookends of Warner.
You're looking at the #1 cause of lung cancer. That's why the Surgeon General issued this warning. Now you're looking at the #1 cause of lung cancer for non-smokers. That's why the Surgeon General issued this warning. Radon is an invisible radioactive gas that seeps inside your home from underground. Whether you smoke or not, radon can cause lung cancer. Protect your family. Have your home tested. Call 1-800-SOS-RADON. Radon problems can be fixed.
Welcome back to Yankee Chronicle. I'm your host, Abby Peel, coming to you from the Tracy Memorial Library, and I'm now joined by no stranger to our show here, Ashlee Rowley, who's the Executive Director of the Lake Sunapee Chamber.
Here we are again.
Here we are. You just had an exciting annual meeting.
It's kind of wild. It feels like it was yesterday, but it was 2 weeks, I think, ago.
And it's so much planning, I'm sure. Yeah.
It takes a lot. Like, it's the holiday season, and then you kind of go into the immediate change of the calendar, and then it's like, bam, before you know it, it's here.
It must make January go by fast for you.
It does. I mean, which I guess is good, right? Because January is one of those moments, you know. But it's really great. Our annual meeting and award ceremony is an awesome way to kick off the new year, and to be able to, you know, we give 5 community awards, and we have 2 months basically of nominations where community, from no matter where you are, no matter what walk of life you are, what industry you are, you can nominate anyone.
I love that.
For the work that they've done in 2024.
I love that.
And of course, we know, I mean, numerous times, this show does great work when it kind of features specific businesses and people who do good work in our community. So those nominations come through for about 2 months, and then we wrap that up, and then basically it's selection from there, and we talk about, you know, who's made the impact, who should be recognized this calendar year, and then we get started, and we go into the actual presentation of it, and we invite all of the nominees. I think it's super important when you're nominated that you're kind of celebrated.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's hard, you know. Of course, you know, nobody wants to be a loser.
Right.
It's such a huge thing.
It is.
When you are nominated, that means somebody from the community took the time to fill out our nomination form, to say, I recognize this person or this business or this organization, and they do great work.
Exactly. So let's start with the first one, Rookie of the Year.
Rookie Business of the Year. So this is usually a business that's probably been maybe 5 years and under in the community.
Okay.
And the Bend at Sugar River won this one, which is fantastic. Super awesome location. We had lots of nominations for them because they are serving, you know, a need, right?
Yes.
And they're serving, you know, that breakfast, that pastry, that lunch in Sunapee, in the Sunapee area. And the team is great. and it's just a really cool new adventure, I think, for all of them to be on together. And the space is beautiful. I mean,
it really is.
If you haven't been there, just the renovation itself, like, it's gorgeous.
And if you can, definitely go back when the patios open out back along the Sugar River. It's amazing.
It is gorgeous.
Oh,
so that's definitely a huge perk and a huge plus. And they were great in the award ceremony too. They brought like a mini champagne bottle. I mean, they committed.
They were ready. Yeah,
they loved it.
Well, good. They deserve to be celebrated.
It was good, yeah.
What about Young Professional?
So Young Professional of the world. Oh my goodness. I just
I was in 2020 and it was just the year.
I just amplified it. So Young Professional of the Year was a Mackenzie Blizzard.
Okay.
So she just opened up Attack from the Back Ski Shop.
Yes.
And really kind of unique and interesting story. So I think our board of directors was completely taken aback by the fact that she was still a student.
Yeah.
And she kind of, pivoted from some medical issues and things like that, but raised over $30,000 just at the Proctor Ski Hill with her logo on merchandise, and all of her proceeds go to charities.
It's amazing.
So it's
if you haven't gone and checked out that store, it's jam-packed in this cute little spot, but I love her story. And she's still in school, so her parents are working during the school day. I think it's
perfect.
So cute.
It's magic. And she did, I mean, we want to celebrate those young entrepreneurs, right?
Yeah.
That kind of spirit of, I can do this.
Right.
Like, why can't I do this?
I love that.
And so she was super energetic, and it was funny. She came up to me afterwards, and she was like, I was kind of expecting this meeting to be kind of boring. And I was like, Mackenzie, you're not the only one.
And it's a fun one.
It's fun. Yeah. It's really exciting, and I ham it up a little too much, but I think that's what keeps it moving.
Yeah.
So she had a blast, and I'm really excited she was the representative there.
What about Nonprofit of the Year?
So Nonprofit of the Year was super fun as well. Bark and Bray Farm Animal Sanctuary. So if you do not follow Jen and Ben and the farm in like Instagram, socials, I mean, goodness gracious, it is hysterical.
It's such a great organization.
The things that they're doing over there, I mean, I think anytime you bring in animals or kids, like, there's such a pull of the heartstrings, right? But I do think that the work they're doing is just it's just the good of the order, right? Like, they're doing so much positive exposure and work on people who are saving these animals from really uncomfortable situations and really terrible conditions. And they're hitting the pavement, and it's so cool. It's
going to be so hard to pick for all the categories, but Nonprofit of the Year must just take hours to decide,
because it's one of those things. It's like our community is so nonprofit based. So that's a wonderful one.
Person of the Year, business community person of the year,
community member of the year,
Time Magazine person of the year.
Exactly, right? We might as well. We should put her on the magazine. So Donna Gazelle,
so deserving.
So Sunapee is such an interesting community, because there are so many people who are so community oriented and focused in that town,
and have lived there forever.
But Donna is, I'd say, the anchor.
I would say so.
No matter what organization she's part of, no matter what initiative she tries to undertake. And she was so mad. She was so mad. She was like, Ashlee, who do I have to blame for this? And I was like, Donna, this is well-deserved.
So deserved. And she does more than the average person even realizes.
Right. And she's 110%, she will say, till her dying breath, it's a team effort. Like, everything we do is a team effort. And it's people like that need the
she does a lot that no one even knows about. Exactly. So well deserved. And for Business of the Year,
drum roll. So this is a big one, because this year we actually are adding into our regional information guide an article. So it's going to be an article for Business of the Year, and it's going to be kind of an every year thing.
Love it.
We print that publication each kind of spring, and so it's ready for the summer season. And the New London Inn in the Elms was the recipient this year for Business of the Year. I think everyone gets a little nervous, right, when a new business comes in or new owners come in, and they have just hit the ground running.
They really
have. They're here, they're physically on premises, like they've pivoted in a way that's really kind of stays true to their tradition and their history, but then they've kind of added some cool stuff. I mean, the Marriott Main Bar was such an attraction for people this holiday season, and no matter, you scroll your Facebook feed and it's like, oh, they're there, oh,
constant.
They're there. Oh, it's all the time.
Amazing. I mean, their Christmas spectacular was spectacular, and that is a building kind of like Tracy Memorial Library that is such a staple to New London, and they have done such a great job of modernizing it to the extent that it needs to, but keeping it to
1792. I mean, that's a long history.
A great one. Really quick before I go, I know you have some new board members. Very exciting.
So we have usually our annual meeting. We bring on some board members for the new calendar year. We say goodbye to some, and then we bring on some new ones. So we have 4 new people coming on. We said goodbye to 2, and kind of there's always this transitional phase. So we have Amy Drummond, who's coming on from New London Hospital.
Yes, great one.
So she has taken on kind of that development role, and we're excited to bring her kind of back into the swing of things. She was working on some committee work, which is awesome, and then kind of seeing that transition to board of directors is awesome. And then we have Allison Traeger, who's actually the land use administrator from the town of Sunapee. We're trying to get a little bit more connection to municipalities. So this is kind of our way to start that conversation a little bit more. And she has already been, literally the first meeting she went to, she is hitting it out of the park. So we're really excited about her contribution. Jason Bell from the O'Halloran Group, he has been a longtime resident of the region, and he knows a lot of the ins and the outs, and he's really excited to be able to kind of serve in this capacity. And then our last would be Eric Barnes from Ragged Mountain. We're excited to just keep kind of the outdoor recreation and that tourism element at the helm of what we do. Because it is membership promotion, and we do a lot of things for our local community, but ultimately there is that tourism element, and having those kind of anchor mountains be part of our conversations is important.
No, and especially as they start to just be 365 days a year too. They're not just skiing anymore. So they benefit from a lot of promotion year round. So that's awesome. I mean, that's a solid board. It is pretty good. A lot of other great members you still have.
We sit back. I mean, to be fair, there are some chambers who are like, oh, we've got like 25 board members. I'm like, ooh, no way. My goodness. My heart just stopped for a second. But it's we have about 15 now, and we're sitting in a good place. We have a couple more who have expressed interest. But we'll see how kind of we shape that up. We can't have any more than 19 based on our bylaws. So
and that's a lot.
Kind of creeping, right? You're like, I don't think I want to go that high.
Yeah, 15's good. What else is happening at the chamber? I know that's kind of a silly question because there's always things happening.
There's always crazy new things. I would really like to, our committees this year are really knocking it out of the park.
Good.
So one of the biggest things, that everybody says is, Ashlee, how do you have time for all this stuff? And I don't. That's the bulk of it, is I just don't. So Jen is doing great work on our regional information guide, but our committee work is really where a lot of the kind of day-to-day nitty-gritty stuff can happen.
Actually, there's always so much going on at the chamber. I encourage people to follow you on social media, check out the website. We won't even say the S word, which is summer, because I know that's a whole other world. And we'll talk to you about that coming up in the next few months. But thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ashlee, and thank you to the chamber and its members for enhancing our communities with businesses and activities with being local. When we come back, we'll hear about Wilmot's safety services proposal. But first, please keep watching your Yankee Chronicle as we hear from another one of the fine businesses that are involved in making this show happen. Please stay with us.
This program is supported by H.R. Clough and Kearsarge Heating. Their full-service model offers oil delivery, propane, motor fuels with design, installation, service, and maintenance of all types of oil, gas, and alternative energy systems, as well as air conditioning, water conditioning systems, and their highly trained and friendly staff will assist you throughout the process of buying, installing, and servicing a full line of energy products. H.R. Clough and Kearsarge Heating.
We all want our kids to grow up safe and healthy, so we show them how, and we tell them with honest conversations that let them know what we expect. That's especially important when it comes to alcohol and other drugs. Kids need to know the dangers and how to avoid them. And when it comes to pain medications, opioids, they need to know that they should never be taken without a prescription and never shared with friends or family. It's dangerous and illegal. So talk with your kids, because when you talk, they hear you.
Welcome back to Yankee Chronicle. I'm your host, Abby Peel. It seems that this is the time that many of our communities are upgrading their safety services facilities. Let's hear about how and why of Wilmot's proposal.
This is a very, very small police department, and our office is even smaller. We've been in the fire chief's office for 20 years, and thanks to the fire department for letting us use it, but it's time that we now have an actual building. In this case, we're proposing an attachment to the fire department so we can stay close to the fire department. We realized that if we're going to do this, it's going to be something that is going to be here for at least between 20 and 50 years, because in small towns, that's how long buildings usually last. And so we identified on the fire side that they would like to have a bigger meeting room, more parking space, and that the fire chief could get his office back. On our side, we are lacking almost everything. Inadequate space for evidence. We're tripping over each other as we switch people here in a few times. People who needed to be arrested showed up here while they were doing training, and all of a sudden several cruisers showed up. It's about time that we have a place where the people can come and present their issues in privacy and not be in the fire department's business. That's one thing they have identified is it's a good time to have a good conversation about what it is that the town would like going forward for the police department. I think that most people, if you ask them what is in a normal police department, would identify the things that we would need. An entryway that is secure, a place where we can interact with the people, an interview room, a chief's office, some workspace for the sergeant and my administrative assistant, a place to put files, a place to put evidence, a future holding area for a booking room, and some places to put our equipment and cruisers, and some parking. Those are the very few items that we're asking for. The proposal is to put it on a slab without any need for stairs or anything like that. So it's a very simple, straightforward structure that we're going to hopefully attach to the fire station. March 5th, we have another public presentation about this just before the selectmen's meeting at the town office. Everybody's welcome to come look at our plans, the design, the layout. I'm happy to answer any questions that people bring up. And if people wish to email me or give me a call, or if you happen to see me in town, ask me any questions. I'm happy to talk about this.
When we come back, Hanna Flanders from the Kearsarge Food Hub will introduce the first in a series of new videos about local food production. But first, these words from another one of our underwriters. You could help sustain our efforts by becoming one. To find out how, email us at info@ycnnow.com.
This program is supported by Echo Communications, a digitally integrated commercial printer and mailer located in New London, New Hampshire since 1997, with roots going back much further as the country press, AccuMail, and the home of the Kearsarge shopper. Echo Communications.
The American Red Cross blood supply is at historically low levels this winter, and we're facing a dangerous situation across the country. Without the blood they need, hospitals may be forced to make tough decisions about patient care. Donors are needed now to ensure blood is available for everyone who needs it when they need it. The good news is, you can help. Make an appointment to give now. Visit redcrossblood.org or call 1-800-RED-CROSS. Patients are counting on you.
Welcome back to your Yankee Chronicle. I'm Abby Peel, your host. The Kearsarge Food Hub is on a mission to reinvigorate our community within a restorative local food system through cultivating food sovereignty, growing engaged learners, and nurturing community. Hanna Flanders now introduces us to the first in a series of videos to educate us about this mission. Hi, Hanna.
Okay, Hanna Flanders here. We are at Sweet Beet Market and Cafe. You might know the Market and Cafe for our delicious products, but we are part of the Kearsarge Food Hub. We are a nonprofit food hub serving the greater Kearsarge region for the past nearly 10 years, if you can believe it, starting as a little farm stand down the street. As a nonprofit food hub, some of our work includes lifting up other organizations throughout the region, New Hampshire, Vermont, and the surrounding area that are doing similar work to us, building bridges between farmers and food producers in our region and consumers, people who eat food, which is all of us. And that work is super important. And that is the focal point of our annual event called Love Local, Meet Your Farmers and Makers. And this year, 2024, or last year, depending on when you're watching this, we focused on these nonprofit food hubs working in the middle of the food supply chain to help support farmers with fair prices and selling their products, marketing their products, while also supporting consumers on the other end of that food supply chain, helping products to be available, to be affordable. And this work is done in many interesting, innovative, and creative ways, and that is what the videos and stories of Love Local are all about. So Food Connects is a food hub working out of Brattleboro, Vermont, that we've been working with here at Sweet Beet and the Kearsarge Food Hub basically since day one of running the farm stand. And what Food Connects does is works all along the Connecticut River Valley between New Hampshire and Vermont and Massachusetts, aggregating products from farmers and producers and then distributing them to retail stores, institutions, schools, and things like that. And they play a really important role of moving food throughout our region.
My name is Richard Burkfield, and here we are at the Food Connect's international headquarters in Brattleboro, Vermont. I am the founder and executive director.
My name is McKenna. I am the director of the Food Hub program, which is one of the programs under the umbrella of Food Connects, a nonprofit. Our vision is healthy families, thriving farms, and connected communities. And when I think about the distribution work of the Food Hub, those trucks are moving food through the community from the farms to the families and just really connecting all of that, hence the name Food Connects, right?
So the founding story of the Food Hub is a group of students were wondering why the elementary school was not buying apples from the orchard a mile up the road.
Like the first delivery was a case of apples in the back of a Subaru, classic, right? They couldn't do it through the distribution networks that the school could purchase through. And so someone just was like, fine, we'll do it ourselves. I mean, of course, many things happened in many different ways to get us where we are today, but that really was the first delivery of the Food Hub.
You know, now we've got half a dozen trucks and 17,000 square foot warehouse.
So 6 years ago, we did $400,000 worth of sales. This year, we're budgeting about $4 million worth of sales. When the food system was incentivized to go big, we lost a lot of those middle actors. And it's not just distribution, it's all across the board. Like the middle of the food system is kind of missing, and we're slowly trying to rebuild that. I don't necessarily know that every hyper-local community having its own food hub is also the answer. Like I think the regional relationships are really, really important. We want hyper-local and we want regional systems.
We heard from a lot of local food producers that they wanted access to new markets and that we needed trucking to be able to do that. We needed some cold storage. We needed staff people for sales. At the same time, we heard from schools and hospitals and retail stores that they wanted to access more local and regionally grown food, but it wasn't necessarily easily available through existing distribution routes. So it feels like we're really filling in a lot of gaps within central rural New England.
And it's tough though. It's tough work. Distribution's hard work.
It really is a challenge. We put ourselves in the middle of a farmer who wants to get as much as they can for their products and a customer who wants to pay as little as possible for their products. We feel the push and pull on both sides.
And I wish more people knew how hard some of this stuff was. Not only are you driving the trucks, not only are you carrying lots of heavy stuff and using equipment, you also are the point of contact with the customer. So like you're also giving customer service to every person you interact with. Like trucks break, right? Like reefer units break on trucks. It's hard with the weather, like snowstorms, mud season, much more weather events related to climate change happening. The nonprofit model definitely does help us succeed. It allows us to offer services that we might not be able to offer if this was purely on a for-profit basis.
For us, the importance is supporting producers and getting products into new markets. That requires us to spend a lot of time building relationships with producers on one hand and supporting them and getting ready to sell into wholesale markets, and then also ensuring that there are lucrative markets for them.
It allows us to spend more time providing technical assistance to a vendor wanting to enter the wholesale market. It allows us to maybe go to a customer that's not necessarily profitable on the route, but like we want to get to that customer. It allows us to do things differently, more creatively. More money stays in the community, more money goes back to the grower. Our deciding factor is not how much of a profit are we making on this transaction or relationship. It's like how many people are we helping? How are we starting to strengthen the system?
And food is a very low profit business to begin with. And so the support that we can get goes directly to support the farmers and the producers and at the end of the day, the end users and customers. What really drives me to do this work is I see these positive interventions within the food system as benefiting many of the issues and concerns that I have about our communities and our planet. You know, the more we can eat regional food, the better it is for our rural economies, dramatically decreasing our carbon emissions, social benefits of eating fresher and better food, also a lot of value for our education system when kids are eating better foods in schools, and all around just seeing this as the right thing to do for our communities.
What we do, the decisions we make every day, where we buy our food from, it really matters. I hear that a lot, that it's like, what am I to do? I'm just one person. But like, if you multiply that across thousands of people, like what power we have to make change in this system. Richard actually always says this, don't let perfect be the enemy of the good. And it's like, cool, like you can't buy everything local, but buy what you can. Yeah, you've got to go get this from the big store, but you can get that from the small store. Like, that's great.
If everybody in New England spent $10 more a week on local food, that's a big number, and that will actually have a big impact on our regional food system.
Yeah, love local means so many things. To me, it kind of is more of a remembering. We are integrating old systems with new technology, new ways of thinking, but like we're also just remembering the way people used to do things before, and it's like we can mix these two things together. Love local is remembering. That's right.
And you can learn more about our work at the Kearsarge Food Hub and find these videos at kearsargefoodhub.org. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram. We continue this local food and regional food system education through those channels all year long. So I really hope that you tune in and join us.
Thank you, Hannah, and to the Kearsarge Food Hub's efforts to maintain a local source of good and sustainable foods. Next week, we'll step aside for the monthly edition of Cougar Chronicle as we learn about technical education at the high school, para-educators, integrating old school into new school, and close with Ask the Superintendent about how to learn and get involved with the budgeting process. Join us again in 2 weeks at the same time as Ben Cody, the Library Youth Services Manager, will give us a rundown on their activities and services. Elizabeth Harper from the Lake Sunapee Protective Association will give us a rundown of the kid-centric activities available at the LSPA. Hanna Flanders will introduce us to the second of 3 videos, this one about New England's Fishermen's Alliance. And we'll close with Deborah Bacon, an artist whose work now hangs at Blue Loom Bakery in New London as part of the Center for the Arts Micro Gallery program. Tune into our Game of the Week as YCN is in tournament season. Replays are every Sunday and Monday at noon and 7 p.m. anytime on demand at ycnnow.com. Check the schedule at ycnnow.com for the most up-to-date information on games, Cougar Chronicle, Yankee Chronicle, and specials. We'll see you back here again in 2 weeks with an all-new edition of Yankee Chronicle, your who, what, where, and when show of the Lake Sunapee region. I'm Abby Peel. Enjoy our winter, everyone.
This program is supported by H.R. Clough and Kearsarge Heating. Their full-service model offers oil delivery, propane, motor fuels with design, installation, service, and maintenance of all types of oil, gas, and alternative energy systems, as well as air conditioning, water conditioning systems, and their highly trained and friendly staff will assist you throughout the process of buying, installing, and servicing a full line of energy products. H.R. Clough and Kearsarge Heating. Echo Communications, a digitally integrated commercial printer and mailer located in New London, New Hampshire since 1997, with roots going back much further as the country press, AccuMail, and the home of the Kearsarge shopper. Echo Communications. Main Street Bookends of Warner, for books, toys, games, cards, gifts, and a gallery of local art. Main Street Bookends of Warner. The Innertown Record, your weekly hometown community newspaper covering the Kearsarge Sunapee Sunshine region of New Hampshire. The Innertown Record.
Prescription drug pricing points to corporate
Freedom of the press is about your right to know.
and Clarkshire athleticism.
It's about your right to be informed. Today, there are real threats to press freedom
Reaching residential areas.
and your right to know about the world around us. We must protect our right to know, no matter what kind of news is important to you. Before it's too late, understand the threats. ProtectPressFreedom.org.